Hello and welcome back to my channel. I've already posted episode 1 and 2 of The Last of Us, so do check that out on my channel, and let's get into episode 3. So episode 3 starts off with Joel at a water bank. You can see that he's building a very symbolic grave for Tessa. Obviously her body was completely burned in the explosion, so you can tell that this was his way of burying her and mourning her. Next, we see him and Ellie still making their way to Wyoming. They have to pass through different towns and different open farmlands, and Joel makes a stop at one of his secret locations or storage facilities where he keeps some of his ammunitions and guns. And there's this scene where Ellie goes underground and she sees the zombie that's crushed by the weight of the buildings, and you can see how human it is. It has very human eyes and human emotions. I think this was included because it serves as a reminder that zombies are people. They were people, and this could have been you if you weren't so lucky. And even though she does kill it, it's almost like she put it out of its misery. And without getting caught by Joel, the two of them leave their secret hideout and they continue their journey. And so as they're walking throughout the fields, they come across a graveyard of bones. And Joel begins to explain that when the apocalypse first happened, when the zombies first got infected, the military and the armies were killing innocent people because it was better to kill people who are not infected than deal with them when they do become infected. And so around this time, as you're watching, you begin to realize that Joel has already walked this path before, and it's obvious that he's going to visit his friends, Frank and Bill. And we are already given a hint that Frank is the nice one, and I thought that was funny because I usually don't catch little pieces of information like that, so I'm really glad that I did. And then we are immediately thrown back into the past, and the entire episode centers around Frank and Bill and their love story. So Bill is the tough guy. He's really strong, he's super prepared. He's those people that always feel like the world is going to end or turn into an anarchy, and they can't find themselves wanting. So he's been preparing for this his whole life. He has cameras, he has guns, and he's really smart because the first thing that he does once he's left alone is to get gas. He goes to Home Depot, he gets all the supplies that he needs to stay safe. He doesn't have any family or friends around him. He gets tissue paper, he gets hardware at Home Depot. But what is even more smart is the fact that he was able to go to the electricity company even though the lights went out and purposefully put on his light in his little gated community. And so after he gets all the supplies that he needs to stay in his bubble and keep himself safe, he begins to look around and realizes that he can grow crops, he can grow fruit, he has chickens, probably from his neighbors, he chops his own wood, he's even his own butcher, he's butchering his own meat. And the part that I'm least surprised about is the fact that he can build his own traps to keep people out. And you can really tell that he planned for this. And God forbid in real life something like this does happen, he's the kind of person who's going to survive. The only thing that might kill him is probably an illness. So now Bill's introduction to Frank is kind of cute in my opinion, I don't know. But Frank is running away from something, he's on a journey to somewhere else, and he accidentally gets stuck in a trap that Bill had set outside of his property. So Bill, being as tough as he is, he goes outside and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? You need to leave." And he's about to tell him to go F himself, and Frank is super honest. He pleads his case and he's like, "Look, I would love a warm meal, a shower. I don't know if you can do that for me, but I'd be super grateful." So they do. Frank allows him to have a shower, he gives him a change of clothes, and he makes him the most delicious looking meal I've ever seen, especially in such a rundown world. And when I watched this episode for the first time, I was a little bit surprised that he was gay. I kind of thought that Frank was a little fruity, but I wasn't sure about Bill. And so when the story shifted from all the danger that we've been seeing in episode 1 and 2, and it kind of slowed down to give us a romance, I was really taken aback. The way that these two characters came together, and you could feel how shy but honest and ready that Bill was, it really took my breath away, I'm not gonna lie. And I kept being curious and at a certain point scared that what if they lose each other? What if Frank betrays Bill? Is it really a genuine love story? What's gonna happen? And we also find out that from episode 1 that the radio signals that Tess and Joel used to get was from Frank and Bill, and they were able to stay in touch all these years and exchange resources. And so in episode 1, when the song from the 80s played, it was probably when we're trying to tell them that there was danger and they probably wouldn't survive. So the story keeps progressing. We only really focus on them, and one night there is an attempt on raiders to get into their space. Joel had already warned them about it, but I guess Bill didn't really believe in him. But it did happen and he did get shot. And Frank takes care of him and their love just gets stronger because Bill says, "I never had to worry about anything until you." So after the raid and Bill getting shot, we skip to 10 years ahead. Unfortunately, Frank has HIV/AIDS and his body is deteriorating. He might die anytime soon and he does have to take a lot of pills. However, you can still see how much Bill loves him. It's a genuine kind of love, and I also think the reason why their love is a little bit strong, or it looks strong on television, is probably because in real life, if you're gay, you're probably not gonna have the freedom to walk around and do whatever you want. But in this, they don't have to worry about anybody. The world is over. It's just them in their own space. So I noticed that and I realized that's why it seemed as though they were so expressive. So getting to the end, the couple who is now in their old age makes the decision to take poison for the two of them to pass away in their sleep. And after they pass away, we are returned back to 2023 and we are reunited with Joel and Ellie. And as Joel is going through the house trying to find his friends, it is Ellie who finds the letter that they leave behind, telling that to Joel or whoever finds this letter that they have passed away and Joel is free to take their car and all the other resources that are in the house. And so they get into the blue truck, they drive away, and now it's time for episode 4. My thoughts on this episode are pretty simple. It was a break from all the danger and the running from the zombies. However, we did encounter raiders, which you will see that the human aspect of this apocalypse, I think, is not on the same level as the zombies, but it's just as scary, and we will see more of that in episode 4. And I saw a comment on Twitter, or I think a YouTube video, and someone mentioned that this show is not really about zombies, it's about the humanity of it all. And I think this episode is to remind us that it's not just about zombies, it's about the humanity, it's about the people, the love, and the connections. Even though I did say that all I really want to see are some zombies. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to watch episode 1 and 2. Let me know your thoughts down below, and hopefully I'll catch you in my next video.